Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Troy Hardy with the Auckland Rugby League, and we're at the home of the Roosters today at Jack Colvin Park as we get ready for the big clash. And they're hosting the Mangere East Hawks as they've come up from South Auckland. Now, don't go too far away. We have Corey Rosser who's going to be interviewing the head coaches, and we'll get a little bit of insight in between the two teams and how we're looking as we get down towards the 2:30 start. And also I'll be catching up with Brian O'Shea, the chairman of the club. Don't go too far away now as we wait for Corey to interview the coaches.
Joining me now, head coach of the Atatu Roosters, Phil Gordon. Well, Phil, you have your first competitive run out last week after a strange start to the season, given the lockdown and all the complications that came with that. Obviously a good win, but what was the shape of the team like?
Yeah, I thought, we weren't too bad. We sort of were able to do some of the things that we prepped during pre-season, and, we addressed again post-COVID lockdown. So we weren't too bad. There was a little bit of rustiness about us, but I guess that's to be expected. First it out after a long time, and being so anxious and having to wait this long to sort of play. So, but in general, not too bad.
Fairly convincing win in the end against Papakura. I guess give us some of your takeaways from that match.
I think within the context of where we come from last year to where we are this year, the sort of mental approach we need in games, the ability to stay present and stay with what's happening in the circumstance of the game. Whether we need to grind, that's what we do. Getting to good shape when we feel that the good shape's coming, and just reading the game a little bit better, and trying to make sure that we complete sets and get to our targets.
You see a great year last year for the Roosters, but you bring in a couple of handy new players this year. Talk us through some of the new guys that have stood out so far.
Obviously, we've got young Reece Carter. Goes by both names, I think. Very experienced campaigner around the house. I've worked with him in the past, and Reece has just brought a bit more experience to our spine, along with Afa, Atatu, but who's a very experienced campaigner too. There's a few, Scotty Jones, who's come to us. So basically, we've people have asked us, and we haven't gone actively hunting. We're trying to think about our group and the types of people that will fit into our group, and it's been quite seamless with those boys so far. Just brought real enthusiasm and a bit more experience to what was a very young group.
And obviously Scott Jones tasted success at the highest level domestically last year with Howick. I mean, what's he brought back to this group? Because I guess for a lot of your guys, they haven't even played First Division before.
So Scotty brings a lot of experience, and when a guy like that is talking to a younger group, he's not guessing. He's talking from a place of knowledge, and I've been there. Very similar to what Jared brings to us. So we have a lot. There's scenarios that we can play through, and he can be very specific in helping build games around our young people, which has been a great benefit. And our kids, our younger boys, seem to be really lapping it up.
Finally, what's been the focus this week, and indeed here on game day, what's the focus today?
First and foremost, we want to pay our respects to the Cash whānau for the loss of a Atatu junior stalwart and Ricky Cash. All our love and respect out to that whānau. So they've been in our minds this week. Obviously, a big thing for us is completing our sets, making sure we understand what it means to get dominance within a game and what has to happen for dominance to occur, and being willing to do that for the amount of time it takes, whether it takes 70 minutes, 79 minutes, etc. Those old cliche sort of things. But playing focused football, completing our sets, getting to our kicks, and creating a platform for us to push forward when we need to.
Phil, thank you very much for joining us, and all the best today.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
All right, a short break before we come back with an interview with head coach of the Mangere East Hawks, Richie Blackmore.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A little break on the format here as we have the chair. And Brian, mate, can you let us know who your special guest is here today and what they mean to the club?
Well, this guy's no stranger, and big thanks to JT and the team down at Te Whānau Waipare. This is John Tamahiri,
Kia ora.
Māori Party, candidate for Tamaki Makaurau. 2 ticks.
And how did you get involved with the club, John?
Oh, born and bred out here, and played all the way through Newland and Glenora. And so we, Whānau Waipare, just supports everything out here, so we're supporting all the league clubs. So with sponsorships to all the schoolboys, and in Atatu, we're sponsoring the top side as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, Brian, there's a wee bit going on down here at the club, you know, outside of sponsorship, and I see that you've got a couple of blank walls over there that need to be wallpapered, mate. Talk us through that. How much? And
Special today, Troy. They're only $10 a week plus GST, or you can get 2 for $20 a week.
Okay, work the math out on that. Even JT's looking a little bit confused on that.
No, well, we're paying $200 a week. How did that work?
So, mate, a little bit of activity happening down here at the club and the community. So let's talk about, you got the new lady in the cafeteria. I understand the food's cranking out if you're a sports fan coming down, and also a little bit around the holiday blast.
Yeah, so we've got Gran, her name is. Gran's Kitchen opened up today. She's doing the tuck shop. She's also feeding the boys after the game. The bistro will be open, so come on down, watch a good game of footy and get a good time. That's just a couple of John's cousins warming up.
That's the Westies warming up, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, and we've got Mark Clayton, head of our schoolboys, runs the holiday blast, the Auckland Rugby League holiday blast. That's coming up in the school holidays. That's a good couple of days training for the kids. We got our playgroup up the club on a Tuesday and Wednesday for all mums and their kids to come up and join in on that. And yeah, just looking forward to running up against Mangere East. That'll be a good test for us today.
You know, with all this sort of activity happening at the club, JT, in the community, that fits well with you as sponsorship is concerned?
Oh yeah, no, we're all part of the community, and well, there's no difference between Whānau Waipare and all our communities there. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white or brindle, as long as you're good working class. That's all we are. Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Thanks, JT. Cheers. So finally, in regards to the club, mate, how's the side looking, you know, from your point of view on the roster that you have for this year?
Oh, we built from last year, so we had a really good season last year, got into the Fox. We're really pleased that there's no relegation this year, so it gives us a good 11 games against top quality sides to get the feel of the Fox. And we did boost our numbers with Keith Hanley took up a role in Sydney. And we wish him very well, Keith. Good luck over there, brother. And Phil Gordon took on the head coach role. And he's attracted a few other players, which have bolstered our numbers. And we've got, last year we were a bit light up front, but that's been bolstered this year. And it'll be very good to see how we go up against Mangere, because we know they won't be easy, mate. They're never easy.
And I understand we've got a wee bit of a couple of shout-outs that we need to do for the Roosters as well. Big Ronnie O'Regan turned 60. One of the captains, you know, who managed to hold the Fox, and also one of your boys who does a lot of work for the club over in Australia.
Yeah, Chris Lloyd, I know you'll be watching, brother, at #TatProud. Chris runs all our Instagram. Actually, he's running a competition right now on Instagram for supporters photos. So he's putting up $20 a week for the best supporters photo. Send them to Chris on his Instagram account, and they'll be put up, and he'll pick one a week, and they'll get $20. So that's pretty cool.
Mate. So one last final shout out to all your sponsors, mate. Who do you want to crank off and say a big thanks to?
Well, you know, Te Whānau Waipare Trust, JT, and also we've got CLL and Vilasari Kit. So they put in some money to clothe our boys with a nice dress shirt, and they're all down in that corner actually. They've sort of taken up the corner down the back there as the sponsors corner. And also I just want a big shout out to all the coaches and managers of our kids. I went out this morning, it was absolutely pouring down with rain. But you wouldn't think it was when you look at the smiles on those kids' faces, and they just love being out there, and that's what it's all about. Oh, the other thing though, we've got a young fella debuting for our top side today. He's only 18, TJ Devery, and he's been a Te Atatu kid that started here at 5 years old and come all the way through the grades. And it's as Phil was saying to me earlier, he's really proud to be able to debut a young up-and-coming locally grown boy right here today. So keep an eye out for him, young TJ Devery.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. Well, look, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, thanks very much for hosting us down here today, Chief. And best of luck for today's action as we get ready now to cross over to the field and getting ready for the kickoff.
Thanks, mate. Great job, Auckland Rugby League. Keep it up.
Now joined by Mangere East head coach Richie Blackmore. Well, Richie, talk us through last week. Understand a pretty close first half, but fell away a little bit there in the end. What was your take?
I think the short and curlies of it is that we just weren't fit enough, and they were a bit faster than us on the day, and we fell away. There's not a lot we can do about that. We just got to work hard, and hopefully we've done a bit of that this week.
Obviously, given the complicated build-up to the season, you expect everyone would have been a little way off fitness, but did you feel that probably it was a little bit below what you're expecting?
I suppose in part because we've got half the team is new, first in Fox, so that's going to catch them out. But it's a bit of a mix of everything. Everyone's in the same boat, so we've just got to be able to deal with that and accept, and quickly move on and get ready to the next game, which is today against the Atatu.
With that in mind, what have been the focuses this week ahead of this match?
Well, I suppose there's always an attempt to get fitter, but that's not going to happen in a week. Getting smarter, I think we have to be able to move the ball around a little bit better than we did last week. We sort of fell into a rut. Contact was again a bit sloppy in the second half. I know that's partially to do with conditioning, but we've got to apply ourselves in those areas. We can't shortcut it and then find out just where that conditioning threshold lays.
Let's get a bit more positive now. Tell us some of the guys that have stood out through your early training sessions and indeed last week as well.
I've got a couple of brothers there. Viao, who's come up. This is his first time. He's only 19, 18, going 19. His brother Pone is a good footballer. Outside of that, we've got a couple of other boys, a couple of old hands. But in the end, as a group, we really just do need to apply ourselves better at our preparation. And we haven't had enough footy and good footy yet to really sort of pinpoint individuals. We've just got to work together better as a team.
You obviously haven't got to see Te Atatu in action yet, but you'll know a number of their players from previous years. What's the game plan today based off what you know about this team?
Well, I just take it from the club itself. It's a proud club. Certainly the Roosters thing is flying high in the NRL, and I suppose they sort of feel some sort of image of that, and they play tough, and they always have done. So it's nice to have them back in the Fox and putting their piece to the puzzle. We know they've got a good win last week, so they're not a bad side. We just got to work hard. Bottom line, it's more about us rather than the opposition.
Excellent. All right, we're going to go out to the field and watch a little bit of a reserve game before we get into the build-up. But Richie, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, thanks for joining us and all the best today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, ARL.
think she's going to go knock. Are you going to knock on the door? Huh? Troy's got it, eh? Oh, he's going to tell Troy.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, live from Jack Colvin Park for today's live streamed match, round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Our build-up will now begin, and in a second I'll welcome in my commentary partner, as always, Troy Hardy, of course, down here today at the home of the Roosters. And Troy, it's always a venue that we enjoy coming to, always certainly a very hospitable welcome, and always a good crowd turnout here as well.
Absolutely, really well supported down here at Jack Colvin, and hopefully the weather will hold, Corey. You know, it was a little bit damp here this morning, so up near the clubhouse end, probably from the in goal area out to the 20, you know, a little bit damp there, so the players will have to, you know, just tread lightly heading towards the try line at the clubhouse end.
All right, so we can see on screen there the Atatu Roosters going through their warm-up, Mangere East, a couple of players making their way over now. So we're just going to run through some results from last week, look at the draw for this week, talk a little bit to the ladders, and then of course run you through the team list and get into kick-off in this one between the Atatu Roosters and the Mangere East Hawks. So last week in round 1, Atatu get up 34-18 over Richmond. Point Chev, a big win, 54-10 over Bay Roskill. Glenora, 30-8 over Marist. Mount Albert won 28-18 over Howard. That was our live stream game, and Mount Albert won the Stormont Shield, and that won Te Atatu, who of course we're streaming today, 42-16 winners over Papakura, while Mangere East suffered a 38-6 defeat at the hands of Northcote and Troy. Probably an easy one to focus on, our live stream game last week. Look, Howick right in the match up until the dying minutes, but Mount Albert looked very good. Yeah,
they looked not only good, they looked extremely sharp. Really good middles. The halves were exceptional. You know, just dangerous on both sides of the field, both sides of the ruck for that matter.
Now moving to the second division, the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship, and the Papatoi Toi Panthers get up for a victory, 26-18 over the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. The Manukau Magpies win a tight one against Manyarewa, 24-20. The Otara Scorpions 34-22 over the Waitemata Seagulls, and the Pakuranga Jaguars 32 over the Ellerslie Eagles 28. And just looking at that competition, Troy, obviously close scorelines throughout all of those games, and probably a few results there that maybe went against the form guide. The Manukau Magpies getting up over Manyarewa, that was always going to be a close one, but that team, I think we've described them in the past, really probably the sleeping giants of that second division.
Yeah, and I think, you know, they've managed to keep their core group of young players together over the last couple of seasons, so that's starting to play dividends for them. It'll be interesting to see how, just having a quick look at that, mate. No, sorry, I can't pick that up. I was going to talk about the Ellerslie Eagles result there.
Yeah, that's 32 Pakuranga over the Ellerslie Eagles 28.
Yeah, so Pakuranga, that's a good scalp for them to have.
It is indeed, and of course the East Auckland Derby, that one as well. So it looks very much like it's going to be a close competition, that second division, the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship. So to run you through the games that are on today in both the first and second division. And we've got the Root Rooster on the line at Felds Park. That's the Mount Albert Lions taking on the Bay Roskill Vikings at Felds Park. Richmond take on Glenora at Grey Lynn Park. Of course, our live stream game today. Marist host Northcote at Murray Halberg Park. And in the remaining game, the Howard Hornets take on the Otahu Leopards at Paparoa Park. Won't that be a game? Otahu have brought in a few very handy players, and that Howard Hornets team, and while they went down last week, they didn't look far off the pace of last year. I think that's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, and I like the look and shape of Otahu. I think they're going to be, you know, to coin your phrase, a sleeping giant for this year. And it'll be interesting to see how many scalps they manage to crank off, you know, in the regular season. And everyone should be well aware that every game counts. You know, it's not like we've got a couple of rounds this year. So, you know, everybody's into it full noise.
And just a bit of a public service announcement. Unfortunately, the Papakura Point Chevalier game won't go ahead. Papakura have defaulted that one, which is a shame. So don't make your way down to Walker Park, although I dare say I'm sure the bar will be open down there, possibly even watching the live stream. Shout out to Willard and the Point Chevalier boys there. A couple of good games on this round, really. You look at Richmond Glenora, I think could be a really interesting clash as well, and it'll be interesting to see what Bay Roskill can come up with against Mount Albert. So moving our attention now to the second division, the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship and the games that are on today. And once again, a couple of really tasty matchups here. Ellerslie taking on Otara at the Ellerslie Domain. The Eagles no doubt hurting from last week, and the Scorpions keen to kick on. Manukau host Pakuranga at Moyle Park. Waitemata take on Papatoetoe, and the Hibiscus Coast take on the Mangere Marlins. So certainly plenty of footy to get out and watch. And of course, if you're tuning into the live stream today, you're probably sitting at home, but maybe you're on the sideline of one of the other games. Of course, there's footy on tomorrow as well. Finally, kick-off for the Farrelly Photos Women's Premiership. Shout out to Mike Farrelly, our awesome sponsor of that competition, and a couple of good games on there. Mangere will take on Mount Albert. That's at Mountford Park, 2 p.m. kick-off. And then a grand final rematch. Greyland Park, 2:30 p.m. Richmond take on the Papakura Sisters. It was a good grand final last year, finished up 6-4, and really two heavyweights that always tend to be there or thereabouts each year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's ideal for the Richmond Roses to be able to, you know, have this game out of the way, first game up for the season. And, you know, they'll be looking for a wee bit of retribution. And
in the second tier of the Farrelly Photos women's competitions, that's the championship division, Atatu, who have traditionally been heavyweights of that top flight, they're back down in the second division now. They'll take on the Otara Scorpions, our very own Savannah Tafau-Levy taking the field in that one. I'm sure you'll hear some commentary throughout the week on that one as well. Plenty of office banter off the back of that as well. Te Atatu play host to Glenora in a West Auckland derby at Jack Colvin Park, and the Manukau Magpies up against the Pukekohe Pythons. So that is the wrap of the footy that's on today, and we're now going to bring up the ladders first of all for the second division if we can, the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship. And of course only one round played, so the ladder doesn't mean a whole lot right now, although it does look like being a close competition. So just on differential, it's the Scorpions who sit at the top, followed by Papatoetoe, Manukau and Pakuranga. Ellerslie, the first of the teams in the second half of the ladder, followed by Manyarewa and the Hibiscus Coast. And of course Waitemata at the bottom there. They only lost, I think, by 10 points, so that does show, I guess, how close that competition is probably going to end up being this year, and every point is going to count. Shout out to Crown Lift Trucks, our sponsors of the second division as well. And we'll bring up the first division ladder, and again, only one round played, so in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, 12 teams taking the field. It's the Northcote Tigers who sit at the top, and that's probably been the case for the last couple of years. I think Northcote have tended to get off to a flyer, followed by Point Chevalier, Glenora, a couple of familiar names, Te Atatu Roosters, in fourth position right now, followed by Otahu and Mount Albert. And the teams who lost last week, Howick, Richmond, Papakura, Marist, Bay Roskill and Mangere East. So just looking at that, Troy, I'm sure you had some pre-season predictions in terms of how the season has started. Do you think that's probably looking like the favourites for the top six there, and how much movement do you picture there will be?
I think Te Atatu will be happy they're in the top six, you know, from the first round. Howick probably weren't that, you know, excited and loose in the first game up of the season with the storm on. But, you know, two massive giants there, both the Mount Albert Lions and Howick, and what a great match that was, you know, the champion of champions. However, it's early days yet, but as I keep stressing, every game counts. They don't get a second round, so, you know, every time they show up for the 80 minutes, everyone's going to be going hard for the W, right?
All right, into kick-off mode now. We're just a couple of minutes away here at Jack Colvin Park, the home of the Roosters. We'll bring up the team list and talk you through how they will take the field. You can see the Mangere East Hawks there in a huddle, and the Te Atatu Roosters situated just behind them. And the team's pretty well as named. There's just a couple of jersey swaps. So at fullback for the Waipareira Trust Te Atatu Roosters, Delaney Cheney Puata. Of course, a local boy, Kelston Boys High School product, who spent a bit of time over at the Cronulla Sharks. Cortez Taulu will be on the wing. David Dyer, who scored a heap of tries last year, he'll fill one of the centre spots. It's a good halves pairing, an experienced halves pairing. Zense Inu teaming up with Reece Joyce. Isaac Miskey will be the number 9. Watch for Scott Jones in the back row as well, along with Jared Tua. He brings plenty of experience to this forward pack. Junior Peta, he'll wear the number 15 jersey, and Kalani Pawharangi Charlie, who had a really good game last week, as I get my words muddled early on here. He's come across from Glenora and by all accounts impressing early on. So that's how the home side will take the field, the Te Atatu Roosters, and we turn our attention now to the Mangere East Hawks and James Dowie, super impressive fullback. He is the man in the number 1 jersey. Had a really good year last year, James Dowie as well, after overcoming some pretty bad injury luck. In the halves, Inga Lemoni, lightning on his feet, this guy, and will be dangerous every time he runs the football. Pakito will be the hooker. Watch for the Tongia brothers, Fiao and Pone. Fiao in particular really impressing early on here. Howie Brown will lock the scrum wearing the 13, but he'll play basically as a half. Has the skill of a half and has played a lot there, but big enough that he can play in the middle of the park as well. And watch for Nicholas Halalilo. He'll wear the number 17. Not sure if he'll start or come off the bench. He's one of the co-captains. He's actually in the Warriors New South Wales or Canterbury Cup squad this year, so a super impressive player there. I think he played for Counties last year as well, from memory. So that is how they will take the field. Phil Gordon, the coach of the Te Atatu Roosters, and from Mangere East, Richie Blackmore. You can see on screen there, Jared Tua about to lead them out. And Troy, I know you caught up with Jared through lockdown. What a great ambassador for our game.
Oh, mate, he's a really articulate guy. He's got stacks of humour, but I think here, you know, he's found a home, and he's I think he's relishing in the fact that, you know, he's leading from the front and he's helping shape young footballers coming through here in West Auckland, and he certainly made Te Atatu his home. At some point, you know, we did quite a few interviews during lockdown. I had him up against what did I have against?
George Edwards.
George Edwards, there we go. Sorry, Georgie. And we sort of got the drop on Georgie there. He'd broken a leg, so he wasn't looking too sharp, but he's looking to be back in time before the season runs out. But, you know, as we said, Jared Tua, top bloke, really nice guy, and stacks of humour. So good luck to them today.
So our middle referee today, our very own Rochelle Tamarua, who of course is a colleague of Troy and I's at the Auckland Rugby League. She's worked really, really hard over the off-season on her fitness. Of course, has eyes on advancing up the levels in refereeing. And she will have the middle today, along with Isley Brown, who's a late inclusion as a touchy, with Casey Gribble unavailable, and Zane Richardson. So a good young refereeing corps today. Shout out to the Auckland Rugby League Referees Association as well. Check out their website or Facebook page if you do want to get involved. And I think we've had a few new members who have come on board this year as well. It's a great way to, I guess, remain part of the game if maybe your playing days are finished up or you don't fancy going down the coaching path. So the two teams there lining up, and kick-off not far away at all. And Troy, it's turned out to be an okay day, really, after some pretty heavy rain when you arrived.
You weren't here at 5 o'clock this morning, mate. No, absolutely. It's been great that there's a break in the traffic as far as the wet weather's concerned, and let's hope that holds. Also, a big shout out to Valerie Louis from the Mangere East Hawks. So, Val, I know if you're online, there's the mighty Hawks getting ready to go up against Te Atatu Roosters here today, and she's a stalwart of the club, and she does a ton of work around there for Tash and the team. So, just wanted to give her a bit of love today.
So you can see on the screen there, Mark Clayton grabbing a couple of photos as well. So into it we go as the two teams swap halves. So it looks like it will be Mangere East attacking the clubhouse end down here at Jack Colvin Park. Great to catch up with Brian O'Shea in the build-up as well. A really progressive chair as well, and doing some good things.
Yeah, absolutely. He works hard behind the scenes. He's got a good core group of committee and members that help him get the job done. And one thing I really like about Te Atatu is that everyone's involved. You know, the fact that they brought the young kids down today to walk on with the Premier teams, all those nice little touches, Corey, I think it makes it special for everyone.
All right, so Reece Joyce it is, who's going to get us underway, and just at least through my mic, we're not picking up the ref audio from what I can hear, so it may sound a little funny at first as we get into this one. So you'll have to excuse us if there's a few technical difficulties along the way. But anyway, important thing is we've got a game. We're ready to go. I don't know about the line marking there. A little bit of a swerve on the halfway. Not quite straight, but into it we go. Round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. The best domestic rugby league competition in New Zealand. We called a fantastic game last week between Howick and Mount Albert, and I expect this one to be nice and fast-paced again today. Should see plenty of points as well. Thankfully that rain has stayed away as Howie Brown carries forward and Paquito jumps out a dummy half. This is the 8, Sol Tauhinu, only 19 years of age. There's a couple of teenagers in this Mangere East team. It's a youthful lineup. Paquito now looks to his left and links with the other bookend. This is Fiao Tongia, who is in the Warriors system as well. Of course, for those guys, no games as part of the Warriors, given that there's no junior system or reserve grade running this year, NRL only, so back in club footy, which is good news for us, as Lamoni looks to the heavens early on. Under it and safely bringing it in is the left wing for Te Atatu. Cheney Puata was in the picture as well, and Mangere East set upon him quickly. So working this ball forward now via Cortez Taulu. Speaking of try-scoring machines, he's scored a number over the past few seasons, both with Mount Albert and now Te Atatu. Cheney Puata. Inu is the dummy half. Jumps out and goes to his left, where he links with Junior Peta. Takes him up over halfway. 27 years of age, formerly with Wynnum Manly in the Q Cup. Joyce will dink a little kick over the top. Chase looks pretty good here from Te Atatu as well, and Dowie's going to have to be quick to this one. It's just going to roll dead. But not a bad start to the game there from the Te Atatu Roosters, Troy, and already Reece Joyce making his mark.
Yeah, good way to kick, and just gives young James Dowie the chance to sort of turn around and run it out. And I think the weather will play a little bit in it. You know, the ground is kind of damp on top, and the ball will hold up. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Kickers in both teams, mate.
Reece Joyce, he adds plenty to this Te Atatu team, really comes in as the sheriff of this team, I guess you'd say, leads them around the park, and has had a really good career. Of course, won a Fox with Papakura back in 2016. More recently with Mount Albert, as Paquito jumps out and catches Tua, retreating, and makes some good meters there, and we'll get a penalty off the back of that one as well. So first penalty of the match, and looks like Limoni's going to look for touch. There'll be no thought of kicking the goal here. Limoni will look out to the sidelines, of course right up against the motorway here at Jack Colvin Park. Dennis Williams Terraces.
Dennis Williams, legend.
So Mangere East now get into their work. This is Tongia, 19 years of age. Older brother Pone in this team as well, we're in the 11. Paquito. Tauhinu. Charging forward, and up quickly was Isaac Miskey with good first up contact in front of the SAS uprights. 3 minutes gone, and Mangere East hunting first points. Paquito to Limoni. Limoni crabs across field, links with Halalilo. Jared Tua does well to halt his momentum, and a little bit of help in there as well, I think, from TJ Devery. Brown. To Dowie. Quick hands, numbers here. Mangere East will open the scoring. Tamarua points to the spot. It is Edwayne Molisela-Fai who is going to open the scoring here for the Mangere East Hawks. Nicely worked in there. A classy touch from James Dowie in the build-up, but just found them stretched for numbers.
SAS Action Sporting replay here, and you can see, you know, they sort of attacked just to the left edge and then went for the big spread. And nice catch and pass all the way through. Good cut out there, ran a nice little decoy. Just managed to pop that up, and basically no one in front of him. And for the number 2 in across the line, try. 4 points, Hawks are on the board.
So 4 on the board, as many minutes gone on the clock. Kick to come from Dowie. A difficult one first up, right against the touchline.
Hawks did pretty well, you know, they went the length of the field and, you know, the best part of the set. And come away with some points.
So Dowie about half a metre in from the touchline. The other two faithful in the background there. Strikes it okay, but away is the call, so score will remain. Mangere East Hawks 4. Waipireta Trust Te Atatu Roosters 0. 5 and a bit gone here at Jack Colvin Park, and I dare say Richie Blackmore will be delighted with that start after, really footing it with Northcote for half of the match last week and falling away. He knows they need a good start, but I guess the key one for him will be sustaining it through the second 40 minutes as well. So Joyce will get us back underway. Kicking down towards the car park end. Big carry off the back fence, but equally big defence, and David Dyer in there along with Devery and Junior Petta. Shout out to Junior's uncle, the Mount Smart Joker, watching on. Great to catch up with the Joker at my SAS College Rugby League game on Wednesday night out there at Cerebin Hillary College. Son X playing in the Pakananga team, coached by TJ Ashford, as Howie Brown gets a little bit tangled up with Miski. No hard feelings. Pakito jumps out and steals a few. Flopping in late there was Piwhairangi Charlie. Dowie to Limone. They turn back onside, and then Tongia charging forward, takes them up over the 40. So a good set after points so far. Can they finish with a positive kick? Driven low, and between winger and fullback from Lulia. Cheney Puata has to go back and collect it and then hands off. And a really good kick chase from the Mangere East Hawks, who are well and truly on their game through these opening minutes, Troy.
Yeah, territory's looking good. They're executing their sets really, really well. They've already scored a try off the first, or was it the first one there in the first 4 minutes? So a wee bit of pressure here for the Roosters at the home ground.
And this will help relieve some of that pressure. A penalty here, so Reece Joyce to look for touch from the kick. And again, apologies, certainly not in my audio. We're not picking up the referee audio right now. There's a chance you may be hearing that at home. So we'll do our best to decipher those calls as we go along the way. Lawa involved in the tackle that time. Joyce jumps in to become the acting half. Here's Piwhairangi Charlie, one of the standouts last week in a good win. Fighting on the ground, it's Miski to Tua, and Tua dummies to Pitta and then goes himself. Fighting for a quick play of the ball, Tua. Inu to Dyer. Dyer gets rid of one. Good carry from David Dyer. Arriving late to help out was Savala. Inu craving across field, dinks a little kick over the top. Dowie across, well positioned, steps out of one. Just about steps out of two before he's taken the ground there, James Dowie. Nice quick play of the ball as well, and jumping out, although then David Dyer gets hold of him, and Cortez Taulu joining in late to drive him back. The other two looking to make an impact with their line speed this set in particular. TJ Devery comes in late to slow that one down a little. Tongia. Brown, again the first receiver. Lulia links in the back line. Tongia gets rid of one. Strong carry, went up over the top of Hemi Davis originally. Takes them up to about 45 short of the line. They get to a kick under heavy pressure, and now Cheney Puata is under it. Takes it cleanly. Looks up to see a wall of green jerseys. Shakes out the first one, Delaney. Still running. Lamoni will take him to ground. Smack bam on the 20. It's the Roosters who trail by 4. 9 minutes gone here at Jack Colvin Park. You're joining us for round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. The Roosters first up winners, as we mentioned earlier. And a bit of claret coming out of the nose there for Rangi Piri, who has taken a couple of hard carries early on off that wing. Now that play the ball was dodgy. It was more than dodgy. Incorrect, and handover will go the way of Mangere East, and Te Atatu guilty of a few errors coming out of yardage already.
Had a great opportunity there to mount a bit of pressure, and not to be the case. So we get ready to pack in for the scrum.
So Brown clicks from the back, links straight with Missy Four. Bounces out of the first one. Not the case on the second. Scott Jones and Jared Tua. 30 out from the line now, Mangere East. Pakito goes down the short side. Bumping carry forward from Tahinu, the 19-year-old Mangere East junior. Pakito will centralise. Brown is the first receiver. Goes short to Tongia. Not far off here, Mangere East looking to strike again as the clock hits 10.5. Pakito, Lulia, set upon by Jones. Used to seeing Scotty Jones in the headgear. Looks like he's ditched that for season 2020. New club colours. Brown first receiver to Limoni. Limoni will dribble a kick in behind, but David Dyer is positioned nicely to bring that one in and then returns with a little bit of interest as well. So nicely defended that time from the Te Atatu Roosters. Just look like they're up against it a little bit right now, Troy. Obviously a couple of errors and they've had to do a fair chunk of defence already.
Yeah, they've got some great kicking game going on at the moment, have the Mangere East Hawks, and been able to turn them around and sustain them down inside the 20 or 30. And just now getting out to the 40, so the Roosters trying to get a bit of territory here. Nice little kick through.
Great kick. 40-20, I think. Just wait for confirmation. I'm doing my best to lip read here, and Taulu's gone off to get the ball, so I think that is a 40-20, and that was a pearler of a kick. So advantage Te Atatu now, and a chance to hit back. That was a huge play, given we're probably struggling to get out of their own end a little bit. So Devery will have the first carry. Here's a test for the Hawks. Miski is the dummy half, looking back towards centre field. Big crowd in, as always, here at Jack Colvin. Isaac Miski. Hook, line and sinker. He's done it so many times through his career in Auckland, and Isaac Miski just catches those markers napping, and over he goes. Te Atatu hit back. 12.5 gone.
Having a quick look at this SAS Sporting replay here. Isaac sold them the farm. So he's obviously, shaping to go left. He's pointing there, gesturing. And, yeah, just got a half a step on them. Too easy, 4 points. And the Roosters needed that, Corey.
Did indeed, and I missed who the 40-20 was from. I think it was Reece Joyce, but that was a heck of a kick. They were camped down inside their own end and had plenty on the kick and managed to pull that off. Secured the field position, and then from there, Isaac Miski. Over he goes. It was clever from Miski, but pretty poor from the Mangere East Hawks. And I dare say Richie Blackmore, when he spoke about fitness and concentrating, that will not have pleased him one bit. So Jones now to kick from just to the right of the uprights. So Jones steps in, and wasn't convincing, but off the upright, and over it goes, and it is the Waipatata Trust Te Atatu Roosters who lead Mangere East 6-4. 13.5 minutes gone here in round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. A classy hit back there from the Te Atatu Roosters.
Yeah, for a big chunk of time there, Corey, it looked like it was all Mangere East going their way, especially the momentum and territory. And against the run of play, beautiful little 4-point try there. And Te Atatu with that kick, 2 points up, and 14 minutes gone.
So back underway, off Dowie. Joyce brings it in. Whairangi Charlie, I think it is. Hint of a high shot in there, crept up at the end. Joyce to Jones, and Scott Jones looking to find a perhaps smaller body in that defensive line. He didn't find one in the end. Instead found Sol Tauhinu. Tua. Short at the line to Pitta. Miski off a quick play of the ball. He's dangerous here. Jumps out and runs 10. Now that looked like a high shot to me. Play on is the call from Tamarua. And a messy play of the ball well. That went south very quickly there for the Te Atatu Roosters. And a mistake from Isaac Miski, who just minutes ago was the hero scoring the try. So handover ball back to Mangere East. See what they can hit back with here. So ball, basketball passed over the top, and this is dangerous. Somehow managed to stay in the field of play. Dowie, well, there's a mistake in there. Oh dear, right in front of the coaches as well. And after avoiding getting bundled into touch, I think the call is that there was a knock-on in there. So this will be a Te Atatu ball. Dowie doing his best to protest to referee Tamarua.
So, on the reset of the scrum here. Atatu are certainly back in a few orders there. He's rolling up the troops. Here they come on the attack.
Inu to the line. Down by Moni and Brown originally. Devery to Cheney Puata. Peta. Nice quick play the ball. Miski was that forward. Play on as the call. At the back. And Pity, as he managed to stay in the field of play. What's the call here? It'll be a knock on. So, period of sloppy play for both teams here. Hand over possession cheaply, and the ball will now go back to Mangere East. So after a fairly fast start, Troy, both teams probably just guilty of forcing the issue a little bit there. Te Atatu forcing the issue and going wide, and all of a sudden a few errors starting to creep in.
Yeah, especially early in the tackle count as well. You know, like as you rightly said, you know, I think we've managed to maybe get to maybe 2 or 3 for the Roosters. Nowhere near getting close to, you know, a full house to get the kick away as the ball's fed into the scrum. He's held it up, and they're off the base now. Hawks looking for a set up.
Pakito links now with Tongia. Tongia, what a carry. Takes 3 to bring him down. In the end, they do a good job of it, Te Atatu. Pakito to the other Tongia. This is Pone, 20 years of age. Part of the Warriors junior setup last year. Brown goes back door to Lulia, and lurking out there dangerously close to the centres was Fiao Tongia. Dowie
Nice.
steps off the right, comes back in field, little kick in behind, and no choice but to make a play at it there. Zensei Inu had to get hands to that, or it was game over, and Dowie was going to score. So lovely bit of play there from James Dowie. You could see just disappeared down that short side, headed back in and forces a repeat set. So 6 more to come now for the Hawks.
Yeah, tying them up inside the end goal again as we get ready for the Te Atatu Roosters to drop one out here. And they'll be back into, you know, Groundhog Day with the grind on the tackling.
18 and a half gone. It's the Roosters who lead by 2. Monet.
Went back.
There's no.
Scored it.
Wow. So Lamone puts it down on play 0 for the Hawks, and we have a handover ball which will be around about the 40. And all that pressure that they had managed to build on Te Atatu released in an instant. So Inu to pack down the scrum. Joyce is the first receiver, but instead they're going to go out to David Dyer. Forward, taken down on halfway. Taulu, the dummy half. There's the junior. Spent time at Mount Albert, as we touched on. Good run from TJ Devery, the teenagers in this Te Atatu team. 18 years of age. Miski again looked a little suspect. Won't matter because Tua has spilled his lollies, and the knock-on-a-thon continues in this one. Halalilo now taking the ground. One of the co-captains along with Dowie, who coincidentally is the dummy half. Bumping the ball forward is Tongia. Driven back that time though, Junior Peta and Jared Tua making sure of that. Slow play the ball. Pakito goes to his left and looking to weave his way through as Morgan Missifua. Takes the Hawks up over halfway. 20 gone. Trailing by 2, Mangere East looking to hit back.
Howie Brown goes to the line, but it's all very stagnant right now for the Hawks. There's not a lot of energy in this team. Paquito, Limone goes to the Halalilo, shakes out a one. Halalilo still going, fends off another. Had options on his left-hand shoulder, just could not quite get the ball away. And there we go. Well, that's almost a cynical one from Taulu. He knew what he was doing that time. So 6 more coming up now for the Hawks, should they elect to tap and go. Is there a discussion going on in terms of going for the 2? No, there's not. Paquito hands off and goes straight to Tongia. Taken down just to the left of the SAS upright. Right up against the line here, the Hawks looking for their second try of the match. Paquito will centralise. It's Brown. Brown goes short. Failed to arrive just in time to deny the big bookend. Lulia, quick hands again, but nicely scrambled across. Rangi Piri it was coming to the rescue. It was almost a second try in that right-hand corner there for Molly Silafai. But instead, bundled into touch, hand over ball, and we'll have a Atatu feed, and Mangere East pretty keen to explore their options down that right-hand side.
Yeah, absolutely. Took the words out of my mouth. That's the second time they've gone down there, and the first time, it certainly was fruitful. So we might see that a couple of times throughout the. We've got the 60 minutes to go on this one. So it gets ready now to be fed by Atatu Roosters, and they're grinding out again inside the 10.
So Cheney Puata ragdolled Howie Brown in there, getting involved. And we're going to exchange pleasantries as well. So not too much doing in there, although Howie Brown's very worked up. Not too sure exactly what's going on there. And simmer down.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, all of the games we cover this season will be uploaded to our TV channel, and you get to the YouTube channel through aucklandleague.co.nz, the Auckland Rugby League website.
Couple bits to plug coming up as well. The Holiday Blast here at Jack Colvin Park, which is happening next month. Shout out to Mark Clayton and the team doing a great job running that one with assistance from the ARL team. Details for that one on the Auckland Rugby League website as well, or the Atatu Roosters Facebook page as we get back underway here. 23 and a bit gone. It's the Roosters who lead by 2, and they're back on the charge now. This is the 22, Afa Veatupu. Across from Mount Wellington. Tua to Pufairangi Charlie. 35 off their own line now, the Roosters. Miski to Tua. Tua straightens at the line. Keeps driving those legs. That's a good carry from Jared Tua. Finds his front as well. That's excellent work from the veteran 13. Reece Joyce now in behind. Goes up over the top. That's touched by Mangere East by my count. This will be 6 again, I would think. David Dyer taken down. Not too sure what the call is.
Yeah, it is.
Referee appears out of screen, and Troy picks up 6 more coming up for the Atatu Roosters. Devery to Cortez Taulu, who finds himself in the middle of the park. Real test on here now for Mangere East. 30 out, Miski to Jones. Jones will straighten. Is that straight at Tongia, and Paquito involved as well. Ball pops out late, but I think the tackle was complete. And that is the call. So Jones is told to try again, play the football. Miski. Pufairangi Charlie held that ball up as late as he could. A bit of a shoulder there, Pufairangi Charlie. Not far out from the line now, the Atatu Roosters. Miski to Tua. Tua goes backdoor now to Inu. Shifting play on. Now the Roosters overlap on this side. Dyer picks it up, but it's going to be called a knock-on. It's a knock-on or a forward pass in the lead-up. Looked nice for a little while there, but back it comes, and Mangere East dodge a bullet once again. And to their credit, Mangere East, the Isaac Miski mishap on the try aside, Troy, goal line defence looks pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. They're scrambling well, and maybe just a little bit cluttered in the back line there as they started spreading it for the Atatu Roosters. and we'll get City ready for a pack down here. And I think this is the first time scrum inside the 10 for the Hawks in this half. Here we go. And the ball's dropped.
Back on the call. Paquito urging the officials to change their mind, but I think that one was spot on there. Good call from the officials in traffic. So just as they dodge a bullet, they put themselves straight back under pressure now. Mangere East and Te Atatu. Now we'll get another set. Deep in attacking territory. He knew he was going to feed the scrum. Miski packing down at lock. He's looking out to the left. Miski to Joyce. And big contact, but shaking out of it is Viatupu. 15 short of the line now, Te Atatu looking for second points. Scott Jones, good carry. Dowie doing his absolute best. Did he do too much to slow that down? Play on is the call. Miski jumps out, he's got them again. Isaac Miski, he's having a field day out of dummy half. His second try in the space of 27 minutes, and he just makes it look all too easy. The Roosters jump out to a 10-4 lead, kick to come.
I think there's a lot of momentum and speed that we see here on this try for the Te Atatu Roosters. Just up on his feet really quickly. Bit of it's going to get the power pirouette out there, but no need. Just dance through 4 points. And just sort of about to say, Corey, you know, the times that they've been down, they've put points on the board. And they've only been down a couple of times, and, you know, they're now kicking goal for another 2 points. And that'll take them through, potentially. I don't want to give them the big curse. But, you know, potentially looking down the barrel of 12 points to 4. Maybe I've just done that.
And you know, anytime you're playing against Isaac Miski, I'm sure it gets mentioned during the week. Watch out for him at dummy half there. He scored so many tries from there, and so I'm sure the Hawks, they'll be deeply disappointed, not just to have conceded 2 tries, but in the manner they have. I mean, that time Isaac Miski's laughing and enjoying himself before he's even got over the try line. It was all too easy. I dare say that will form some part of the halftime speech from Richie Blackmore as Jones now attempts to make it a 2-score game here as the game kicks over 28 minutes. Good off the left, and it is the Waipareta Trust Te Atatu Roosters 12, Mangere East Hawks 4. 28.5 gone here at Jack Colvin Park. You're joining us for round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Of course, pretty much all footy, bar a couple of the teenage grades back underway as of this weekend. The Ray Crunch Cup as well, which is really exciting. Troy, formerly the Premier Seconds. Isn't it wonderful to be able to, I guess, honour someone like Ray Crunch, who I think in all my years working in rugby league, just everyone seems to say the same thing. He's a gentleman, yep, and the highest class of human.
Absolutely, and we're beating some of our legends who think that other players are legends. They all pay a lot of respect to Ray Crunch, and just so cool to be able to honour him and name the competition after him.
As they move play on, that's a little bit scrappy. Te Atatu, are they going to tidy up here? Yeah, they will. But off points, probably not the ideal Phil Gordon was looking for as they look to ruck this ball out now. Goes to Joyce and Tua. Just back to Ray Crunch quickly. You know that he's had an impact when, there's former legends like Roger Bailey that visit him, and more current day guys like Ruben Wiki, who I think goes and does a bit of exercise with Ray as well. Really, his impact on the game has transcended generations. It's wonderful to be able to recognise him. So the Ray Crunch Cup getting underway this weekend, and will be playing as we speak as well. Avondale Wolves back in action as well there, which is a popular inclusion under the banner of Marist. As Miski now looks out to his left, they go to Viatupu, who is eventually taken down under the weight of Lulia on halfway. They'll come back towards Reece Joyce, and Reece Joyce will unleash a high one. The chase looks pretty good, and pressure on for Dowie. Cool as anything at the back, Dowie, and steps off and gets hit to ground there. A bit of a grimace on the face of James Dowie, and I hope he's okay here, Dowie. sort of got slammed down on his back, and I'm hoping it's only
Just
something
maybe
as innocuous as winded. Has had a tough run with injuries, James Dowie, and is back up to the feet, so let's hope it's just a bit of breathlessness there. Te Atatu quick to show their concern as well. So we'll pause here as Dowie prepares to so back underway. About 10 to play in the first half here at Jack Colvin Park. Tongia. Devery does well to join in and get Tongia to ground with the help of Tua. Here's Halalilo. Look at the little bit of footwork there. Just throws them off and still going, driving those legs, and he ends up only about 4 metres short of halfway. Oh, dear. Oh, that is unforgivable. Miski and Dowie having a bit of a chuckle. Taulu joining in as well. Of course, when you've played for as long as some of these guys have, there's been numerous battles across different clubs in some cases. They know each other very, very well. Of course, a lot of them play together in representative teams as well.
Certainly is the case, mate. You can tell by the glint in their eyes and the humour on their face. And a big shout out to CTAS, our live stream partners who are beaming out around the world, and Pete's Filming, who's capturing all our in-goal action here today at Jack Colvin. Thank you, gentlemen.
So David Dyer charged with the first carry as Te Atatu look for their third try. Devery, who's had a good game so far. Most of his impact on the defensive side where he's been very sharp. Inu, a quick play of the ball, goes to Tua, and Tua will shift play on. Swamped then was Via Tupu. Fresh legs on the park in the shapes of Toots Maipi. Scott Jones, oh, was that obstruction? All good, says referee Tamarua. Did well to, I think, get to ground quickly there, Scott Jones. Joyce dribbles a little kick in behind. Dowie's in the picture. They're going to watch it go dead and will beat everyone in the end and almost end up in the crowd here. So out to the 20 go the Mangere East Hawks, and didn't they need that, Troy? They have endured some pressure in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was nice to get a good solid kick away too for them, and turning the Hawks around. So a little bit of, I suppose, Hawks medicine for them at the other end of the field.
Hawks medicine.
There you go.
An intriguing prospect. Mangere East now working the ball out. This is the 5 Alkin Fa'asavala, 25 years of age, and like most of this team, a Mangere East junior.
Impressive. Jared Tua on both sides of the ball today. He's been busy in attack, he's been busy in defence. Good leading from the front, son.
Woody jumping out of dummy half. Made that error, I think, on one of his first touches earlier. He'll be keen to make amends. In the shadows of half-time, here's a big carry from Tongia, but the contact is equally as good from Scott Jones. Mangere East now with a bit of a spring in the step. They're 30 out from the line, 33 gone, and they trail by 8 points. Limone shows play on. Halalilo, watch out for the little swerve at the line. Pops an offload as well, and now this is the other of the Tongias. 11 short now, Mangere East. Last play coming up. What have they got in the bag? Brown is the dummy half. Who otherwise might have been one of the playmakers. Goes to Limoni. Watch the footwork. Dribbles the kick in behind. It's messy. It's scooped up. And I think we held him up. That was a near thing. And oh dear. We've got an injury here. And that
might have been from the twist too. He's grabbed for the knee.
Yeah, that's not a good one. So this, I dare say, may be a fairly long stoppage in play. Let's hope it's just a bit of a stinger, but it doesn't look to be the case. So unfortunate there. I'm not too sure who the player is. We'll try and pick up the number there. But in the meantime, a bit of a pause from the action here. And Troy, we'll get your thoughts on how it's gone so far. You touched on Jared Tua, and probably fair to say, I think the Te Atatu middle forwards have been very impressive so far. Is that the way you've seen it?
Yeah, I thought, in the first 14, 15 odd minutes, Mangere East certainly had best territory. Their kicking game was strong. They were certainly turning Te Atatu around against the grain of the wood. Te Atatu got down there, they scored a try, and then they did it again twice. So when you look at the board, 12 points to 4, when Te Atatu's come down to the Mangere East 10, 20, they've put points on the board. However, it still felt like the momentum was sitting with the Hawks.
Yeah, been a funny old game in that way, and it was a fairly clean start before some errors started to creep in, and that is Nicholas Halalilo who's gone off, and I think you nailed it when you said just a twist of the knee as he went down, Troy, so that is a real shame, and fingers crossed that it's not the worst case scenario with knees. Of course, we saw a couple of them, unfortunately, in the Roosters NRL game last night as well. Victor Radley and Sam Verrills both suffering what appear to be serious knee injuries. And no matter how much footy you watch, it never gets easier watching someone get injured like that. So thoughts out to Halalilo, but in the meantime, we are back and underway, and David Dyer it is who will charge the ball forward. First of all, here's Rangi Piri. Pretty solid game early on.
He's attracted a wee bit of attention as well. He's got 2-3 on him here. They're trying to put him to the ground. He's a big strapping lad for a winger.
Cale Johnson. Maipi to Jones. Jones, a good strong carry, finds us fronts as well and earns the penalty. Well, that is a brilliant carry from the veteran who we saw used mostly in a propping role for Howick last year. He's wearing the 11 today. Does look like he's played a fair bit through the middle, so not too sure if he's actually playing second row or prop. And yeah, you're probably right. There's some versatile forwards probably in this Te Atatu pack, and they do have that luxury as Piwharangi Charlie takes the ball forward, and now real pressure on for Mangere East. Might be the dummy half, goes to Tua. Tua links back on the inside. It's Jones, fends away on the first one, but then is taken to ground. Help arriving in the shape of Maloa. Maipi burrowing low. Maipi looking for a third try from dummy half for the Roosters, but not this time.
Beats in goal camera there, caught that perfectly. So, Roosters give him another chance to attack.
Tua goes half to half. Inu, Dyer, look out. David Dyer looking to take the impact, but was met well by Missy Four up top. Taulu now will clear the ruck and come back to the middle. Johnson to Inu. Inu turns back on the inside. Piwharangi Charlie. Howie Brown up nice and quickly. Not far from the line now, Te Atatu. Maipi goes centre field, links with his playmaker. Reese, Joyce, nice little kick over the top. Pity, well, he was unmarked had he got to the ball, but just a little bit too high for him. Put the hand up and ends up knocking it out. And now Mangere East get the chance to build some pressure once again off a quick tap. Bring it out as Molly Sealafai.
Oh, that was messy, and what a shame. What a shame. Both commentators put their hands on their heads on that one.
And if we're reacting like that, what's Richie Blackmore doing right now?
I don't want to be in the changing room to find out.
Pulling his hair out. They have shot themselves in the foot time and time again so far, Mangere East. And aside from that, right in this contest. But now real pressure to come on as halftime approaches. Viatipu, nice little ball over the top. Pity. Set upon though and taken down. They're 20 out from the line now, the Te Atatu Roosters. Joyce is the chief playmaker, but he won't get a run this time, and running out there was Davis. The Hawks doing their best to slow the play of the ball down. Joyce to Viatupu, gets rid of the first one with relative ease. Maipi looking left and right. Tua. Backdoor, oh, beautiful. Piwharangi Charlie it is that scores it. Our camera angle probably didn't quite give us the best view of that one, but that was nicely constructed from the Te Atatu Roosters. And Piwharangi Charlie gets over for another one. Lovely bit of shape there from the Roosters. And they make Mangere East pay for the error.
So as we have a look here on the defensive line for the Mangere East Hawks, sort of just, there we go, it's on the swap. We sort of catch the back end of that, and Te Atatu, by the looks of things, had a lot of options there, Corey. Both, 3-4 players on the outside edge there, and look how happy they are, mate. It's looking like a good day in the office for the first 40 minutes for Te Atatu Roosters here at home with Jack Colvin.
Yeah, pretty solid, and helped along by some untimely errors from their opposition, as I've already touched on. So Jones now to attempt this conversion. He wasn't too convincing from this spot earlier. Off the upright, but should have no troubles with this one. One sock up, one sock down.
Does it show the tat?
I was going to say, yeah. Perhaps conveniently done to show off the body art there for Scott Jones as he prepares to dink this one over. And won't be long to go in the half by the time we get back underway. By our count, less than 2 minutes. Jones is good off the boot. And the Roosters lead 18 points to 4. Piwharangi Charlie, the first of the Roosters to score not from dummy half. Zach Miskey taking the first 2 tries with clever little darts out, but that time just nicely constructed, a good line run by Piwharangi Charlie. Hawks slow to make their way back. They'll want to get to half time.
This is waiting for the kick to the restart. Big shout out to Ronnie O'Regan, an ex-captain here at Te Atatu Roosters, who turns 60 next weekend. Happy birthday, big guy. And, I know you've got a few of the old boys coming down to see you for a couple of quiet shandies.
Tupu running off the back fence now, bringing it back for Te Atatu. Pity getting involved, he's quickly set upon.
He's managed to pop it out the back, play on.
Scott Jones, the man on hand to get that one, and breaks out of the initial contact of Ma'amaloa, but is then taking the ground. Slow play the ball as well. Lulia spinning as long in there as he could. Maipi to Tua. Tua goes to Cheney Puata. Cheney Puata shakes out of one. He's in the clear space now. Inu's on his shoulder. Inu brings it in, juggles it, and Te Atatu are in again. The Roosters in for another one. Cheney Puata is hanging on the shoulder of the big man there, and then Inu. What about the hands? Had it, and then it just escaped him. Did really well to bring it in. This will make for pretty viewing on the replay.
Nice little pop on the inside. Juggled, managed to gather that in, and really here was clear sailing with 2 Roosters, you know, on either side of him. But enough power, 3 for 4 points. And that would have been, Corey, maybe less than 38 seconds ago when we had the reset.
Halftime siren goes in the background, so kick to come. It is the Roosters who lead 22-4. Should be 24-4. Tell you what, the commentator almost called that one a bit early there. He just about got dragged down, but just had the pace to get there in the end. Zensei Inu, veteran number 6. So Jones to make it a 20-point lead as the halftime siren has already sounded. So that'll be all we get for the first half. And really a dominant showing from the Te Atatu Roosters, who, as you quite rightly mentioned, Troy, have taken advantage of almost every opportunity given down this end.
Yeah, I don't think they've missed one at this point.
So Jones steps in off the left. Both flags go up, and it is the Waiparaira Trust Te Atatu Roosters who lead 24-4 over Mangere East. That's the end of the first half here. Short break for us before we resume with the second half action here in round 2 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership.